Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Perry Municipal Authority meeting, November 2nd, 2020 at 6:15. Roll call, please.
Cold Iron.
Here.
Bond.
Here.
Dillbeck.
Here.
Ahern.
Here.
White.
Here.
Morrill.
Here.
Wines.
Here.
Streller.
Here. Thank you. I do declare a quorum. This evening, the invocation will be by Councilman Ahern. Brian?
Thank you. Let's all pray that are on the call tonight. Dear Father, we thank you for everyone gathered here tonight. We thank you that you know each of us by name and have allowed us the freedom to walk with you and believe in you. We ask that you would come by your Holy Spirit and inspire our hearts tonight. Come fill our lives with your love and fill our conversations with your grace and truth. Fill this meeting with your presence. We ask this for your glory and praise. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brian. Item number 1 is the consent agenda. There's one item on it for approval.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Cold Iron.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dillbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrill.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Streller.
Yes, thank you. Item number 4, consider comments or comments from those assembled pertaining to the PMA this evening. Hearing none. Item 5, proclamations, accommodations, reports, and inquiries by the governing body. Well, I personally would like to give a huge shout out to our electric company, our electric employees, to our street employees. Everybody has been performing in the last week. It's been amazing what's going on in this town. And the contractors that stepped in and helped us get our town back alive. It's just kudos to everybody that's come together to do this. And I encourage everybody, if you're on the street and you see those guys, be sure and tell them how proud you are, because it was unbelievable what especially our electric company or our electric crew did. I'll call Brian out by name. That Brian Wheatley is an animal, and I appreciate him.
Yes, thank you. I agree with you, Bill.
Okay, item 6, approval of the 2021 regular meeting schedule for the Perry Municipal Authority and provide notice as required by state law. Okay, this time of year, we always put out the schedule, what next year's council meetings and PMA meetings will be. That's what this is, just to approve the schedule for next year.
Motion to approve the meeting schedule.
On second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Cold Iron.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dillbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrill.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Streller.
Yes, thank you. Item 7, consider approval of aviation insurance to general liability, airport owners, and operations liability, bodily injury, property damage, and hangar keepers liability insurance policy. This is a policy we just renew every year.
Motion to approve. Second. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Cold Iron.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dillbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrill.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Streller.
Yes, thank you. Item 8, any new business that needs to come before the PMA this evening? Hearing none. Item 9, motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Cold Iron.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dillbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrill.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Streller.
Yes. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Perry, November 2nd at 6:20. Roll call, please.
Cold Iron.
Here.
Bond.
Here.
Dillbeck.
Here.
Ahern.
Here.
White.
Here.
Morrill.
Here.
Wines.
Here.
Streller.
Here. Thank you. Item number 1 is the consent agenda. There's 4 items on the agenda this evening for improvement.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second, Bond.
Roll call, please.
Coldern,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrell,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 4, comments from those assembled pertaining to the items on the city agenda this evening. Hearing none, we'll move to item 5, proclamations, commendations, reports, and inquiries by the governing body. Hearing none, we'll move to item 6, city manager's report and monthly project update.
Thank you, Mayor. In addition to the electric departments and the street departments, I'd like to give a big shout out to Parish Electric and Grounded Electric, who worked tirelessly through all this to help us get back to normal as much as we possibly can. Also wanted to mention that the transfer station continues to be open every day from Monday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. The plan right now is to do this for the next 3 weeks, and we'll see how the inflow of brush comes in. If it starts to dwindle, and if there's a big difference like there was between Saturday and Sunday, then we might change it and change the hours up a little bit, but we'll go from there. Also, I'd like to have Russell Brand to make some comments. Russell, if you're on.
Okay. Yeah, appreciate it, Larry. I actually just submitted the COVID update report to Larry a little bit ago. I apologize. We just got the opportunity to get that submitted. We have had, unfortunately, quite an increase. We've seen a number of cases, not just in Perry, but throughout Noble County. As of today's report, Noble County has 23 additional cases with 21 additional active. And then the city of Perry has an additional 12 cases with an additional 12 active cases for the city.
So Russell, what do you mean by additional? So are you saying there's 12 new and 12?
Yes,
24 cases?
I'm sorry. Yes, since Friday, this is the new information as of today. I try to submit that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and so from Friday to today, that's the increases that we've seen in the numbers from the county. We've actually we've had one of our staff that had tested positive and was quarantined for 10 days. And now we have another member of our staff that's also quarantined that's tested positive, and he and his entire family are actually positive this time. So, yeah, and we did, that just cuts us back a little bit more on some of the staffing patterns that we typically like to keep this time of year, especially with the structure fire season obviously upon us. That was some of the discussion we had about some of the potential for long-term, issues that resulted from the power outages, maybe people's heating units that may have been damaged or whatever, even on generator power as it gradually shut down and damaged some of those units. This time of year, our awareness is always heightened just for the fact of people get pretty creative when it comes to trying to stay warm in their homes. And so that's this time of year gets us pretty busy for the residential fires. What we're seeing a drastic increase in right now is the wildland fires, pasture grasses, that sort of thing. We were at this time last year, we were at 19. And when I submitted the report today for October 31st, we're at 38. Thankfully, we're about to catch up, I think, on the need for our personnel staffing. We've got 3 conditional offers of employment sent out, and we've got 3 folks that are going to be testing here within the next couple of weeks. So that should hopefully get our numbers where we're at least help us in those responses. I'm currently working shift. I'm working with Captain Duke today and Thursday.
We
So-
may want a description on working.
Who's giving orders to who?
Stephen is in charge of this shift, so I've been doing whatever he directs me to do.
Well, Russell, thank you.
Thank you.
Larry,
All right, Mayor. That's it. Thank you.
any questions for the city manager? All right, thank you, Larry. We're going to move on to item 7. I'm really excited about this. Reading a record presentation by the Oklahoma State wrestling coach on the 2020 Cowboy wrestling program. This evening, we have two-time gold medalist John Smith with us. John, welcome. And I'm going to turn this over to you, and you make your presentation. Thank you for being here. We actually can't hear you, John. Is there a problem, Tyson? It shows that you're unmuted, but for some reason you're not coming through. What should they do, Tyson?
I wonder if the mic volume on the computer is turned down.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Mr. Smith, you guys go ahead and work on this, and we're going to go on. And when you get it live, just shout at us, and we'll see if.
Looks like they got a second one. It's there you go.
How's that, guys?
There you
Can
go.
hear
We can hear you now.
Okay.
All right. All right. Thank
Well,
you.
I'm on the phone and I'm on the computer here, so we figured out. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you, and I'm going to be brief, and if anybody has any questions, but I do want to say, just listening to you guys, it's just nice to see people react to the storm that we just had. I had a coach that lives over on 64 and 177, Tyler Caldwell, one of my assistant coaches, has 2 little babies, and they've been out of power for 4 or 5 days now. So I know that there's many citizens in Stillwater and Prairie that are dealing with the same thing, but it's just nice to see people in a crisis respond and help. And I tell you, my house was a disaster, and I had neighbors come over and help me move trees, large trees, and take us almost 2 days to clear where we could even get out of the driveway. So I just really appreciate the fact that listening to you guys, how people responded to the crisis, how important it is, and just know that I know a lot of people appreciate it. Well, my visit tonight is just to talk a little bit about wrestling and that we are going to have the season. I've had a lot of questions, and I get a lot of emails every day about whether we're going to have the season or not. And yes, we are going to have the season. Unlike the high school season this year, that's going to be going off. They're going to go off on the normal time, and they're going to have a full season. Here at Oklahoma State, we're going to have a season that's going to start in January and end in March. So we're going to run about 8 weeks, and it's going to be short, but our goal is to try to get the NCAA championship in, and I still think that could be a challenge. But we do want you to know that we are going to have matches in Stillwater right now through the Big 12. We're still kind of working on how we're going to do it. We may end up only getting to wrestle one time a week, whether that be home and away. Likely, what you're going to see is we'll end up probably bringing in 2 teams to Stillwater on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Probably end up being on a Saturday or Sunday, and both OU and I will have championships. So we're excited about the Big 12 championships remaining in Tulsa. Just recently, you might have heard that Tulsa was one of the cities that won one of the bids for the NCAA championships. We haven't had the NCAA championships back here in over 10 years, so that's exciting for us. And it's a new city that was awarded a championship. So the one thing that we do have in the state of Oklahoma now, we have 2 cities that have hosted the NCAA championships. And that's important as we go through the future of college wrestling, is that with 2 cities that have represented the NCAA and had hosted the NCAA championships, it's a great opportunity for us to have more NCAA championships in the state of Oklahoma. So, but it should be a great year. I know that several people are wanting to know about season tickets and those type of things. Just keep in mind, we are having a season. We're probably going to be 25% of capacity, with a lot of those being students. So I guess what I want to say is to make sure you get your tickets early, and I think they'll adjust the pay according to the number of matches we have. But as of right now, we have every intentions of starting in January, and I'm sure that we're going to get our 5 dual meets in probably here at Oklahoma State, and probably have to hit the road probably 7 to 8 times. So it's going to be a short season, probably 14 matches at the max before the Big 12. So we just want to make sure we're doing everything that we can to give our student athletes the opportunity to wrestle in the NCAA championship. There was nothing worse than not wrestling at the NCAA championships last year. Finishing up the Big 12 in Tulsa, and then coming home and training for a week, and then finding out that we wasn't going to compete in the NCAA championships. You know, as many of you know, for wrestlers, this is something they dream about. This is something that, you know, you grow up thinking about, is being able to wrestle in the NCAA championship, not wrestling the whole season and then not getting to wrestle in that. There's just not a trade-off for it, you know. So the coaches across the country are really committed to doing what we have to do to make sure that we get our student athletes to the NCAA championship. So I'm going to open it up for any questions anyone might have, or anything that you'd like to add to this conversation.
Is anyone on this evening that wants to ask Coach Smith a question?
I'd just like to say thank you for being here and appreciate the message you delivered, and look forward to supporting you through the season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I got a question, Mr. Smith. How does and I know it's more so I know the football program has a lot more TV time probably than you guys do, but does that create a financial burden? You know, you guys not being able to wrestle as much for Oklahoma State?
Well, we are a program that generates income. Yeah, it's going to be a burden, but it's not, you know, it's not something that, you know, anything like football, obviously. But, you know, I think our commitment from Coach Holder and the conference ADs is the same as our commitment. Let's just make sure that we get our student athletes to the end. Wrestling in that NCAA championship tournament, it's important for these kids. You know, that's why they came to Oklahoma State, or why they went to Oklahoma University or Iowa State or wherever. They want that opportunity to wrestle in the NCAA championship. They grew up with it, and we need to make sure that that's a possibility. And I do believe that we're making the right decision to having a short season. You know, we've been training since August the 3rd, and I don't know if any of you that's online right now, it's amazing what we've done here at Oklahoma State as far as keeping our athletes healthy. I mean, we've had a strong and a very strict protocol of what we do, and of course, you know, it's something that needed to be put into place, and then it needed to be followed. You know, and I guess the one thing I'm as proud of as anything is that, you know, to avoid your team getting in trouble with COVID, it really takes student athlete behavior to make that happen. It's not going to be the coaches. It's going to be the student athlete's behavior. Do you want to wrestle? If you want to wrestle, you're going to make the right steps, you know, and trust me, I have 40 athletes, and since August the 3rd, we've had five positives, which is overwhelmingly good compared to a lot of programs across the country. We've had 6 straight weeks of no positive tests. I don't want to jinx myself here, but it's been really good, and it's been really strong the last several weeks. And I will say that the reason it is that way is because of our student athlete behavior. I mean, they bought into knowing if we're going to have the season and we're going to sustain a season, then it's going to be real important what we do and what we do in the evenings, what we do in the weekends, because we have seen situations that we will get shut down. You know, I don't believe that wrestling is as high as a risk as some sports. I think we've been exposed to a lot of things. Some of the interesting things with wrestling is that a lot of our primary contacts never ended up getting the COVID test, or never got the COVID when they were directly working out with someone that actually had it. So there's some things that kind of you look at and you're going, how did that happen? Well, there's a lot of reasons, I think, but in the end, I think in the last several weeks, we put ourselves in pretty good position to have a season.
Any other questions?
Is it a possibility with the restrictions, the in-person viewing and stuff, will Cowboy Wrestling get a little bit more television time this year, do you think?
Well, you know, we've pretty much, I would say we were on TV, probably about 90% of our matches were on TV, whether that be at home or away. So if you can get more than 90, I'd be happy. You know, that's a pretty good number. We've had several opportunities to make some different choices to get on maybe bigger networks. But right now we're just we're pretty committed to what the Big 12 wants to do. I think that we'll likely, hopefully in the future, see something like a Big 12 network, you know, something that's really needed for all of our sports, not just wrestling, but for all of our sports. So hopefully in the future, we need to be going in that direction, I think, for the health of our Big 12 and for the sports that sometimes we don't see on TV a whole lot. But is there an opportunity for more? I think that probably all of our matches will be televised, you know, but we are going to have in attendance at our matches. And of course, it's going to be a lower number than normal, but we have hope that we fill that need or fill that number. If it's 25%, we'd love to have 25% here of capacity.
Any other questions? Well, Coach Smith, I highly appreciate you taking time for the Perry community, and you know, we kind of considered the wrestling high school capital of the world, and we appreciate what you've done, you know, being this close to us and for our program and recognizing Perry this evening.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. If there's no questions, we'll move on.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Smith.
You're welcome.
Item 8, consider approval of resolution number 2020-16 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, authorizing and establishing the City of Perry Christmas Lighting Electric Rebate Program, providing for a public purpose, providing for the amount and the limitation of the rebate as provided in Exhibit A. For years now, we have done this. There's a rebate if you put up Christmas lights and you sign up for the program. There's a rebate of $25 on your utility bill for that month. This is just reapproving that. And also, I wanted to give a shout out right quick. It says Exchange Bank has agreed to provide the prize for the best display this year again.
Motion to
And
approve.
Mayor, I know we've talked about it before, but I was just looking at Exhibit A. It looks as if somebody can take that money to another account, give it to somebody else. So I think that's great. I think we maybe approved that a couple of years ago, but just bringing that out, it doesn't have to be the individual. You might do it to your neighbor or somebody else, particularly during this time, this difficult time. So I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2020-16 with Exhibit A.
Second, Wines.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Coldarn,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrell, Morrell,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Streller.
Yes, thank you. Before I move on to item number 9, Larry, you all go in your report, you were mentioning, it just come to my mind, that Parish Electric and Grounded Electric helped us through that situation. Was J&J involved also in that? I may be wrong, but I thought they were helping us too.
We had originally contacted them and they decided that at the last minute that they would not participate. They had other things that they needed to do
Okay.
for their own customers.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I'd heard that, so I didn't want to leave them out if they were
Yeah.
involved. So, all right.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Item number 9, approval of the 2021 regular meeting schedule for the city of Perry, Oklahoma, and providing notice as required by state law. This is our meeting schedule for next year, 2021.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Coldarn,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrell,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Streller.
Yes. Thank you, council. Item number 10, approval of the 2021 regular meeting schedule for the Perry Carnegie Library Board and provide notice as required by state law.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Coldarn,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrell,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Streller.
Yes, thank you. Item number 11, approval of the city 2021 holiday schedule.
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Coldarn,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrell,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Streller.
Yes. Item number 12, receive recommendation from the Perry Planning Commission regarding ordinance number 2020-17 and consider approval of ordinance number 2020-17 of the city of Perry, Oklahoma, amending chapter 12, article 2 of the Perry Municipal Code 2020 by the amendment of section 12-283, subsection B, entitled District Use Regulation, providing rules for split occupancy, residential and commercial occupancy in the C3 Commercial Business District, providing for repeal or savings codification, severability, penalty, and declaring an emergency. And that we will tonight. We have enough council people. Okay, is there someone online with us from the Planning Commission? No? So who wants to make the Bryce? I mean, who knows about?
Yeah, I can certainly address it. We provided notice to the public, and we provided 2 public hearings on this ordinance before the Planning Commission.
Mhm.
And the issue was widely discussed, and we brought it back somewhat changed. The first time it went to the Planning Commission, we had a whole lot more detail in the ordinance, which we determined could probably be determined at the time that a building permit is applied for. Issues like entrance, exit, and firewalls, and those kinds of issues. And so we really dealt with 2 things. One, you know, if you're for this ordinance, you're for keeping downtown commercial. And at the same time, allowing an accessory use of a residential use. Now, we want to keep it commercial on the first floor. At least if you've got a 1-floor building, we want it to be commercial up front, residential in the back. Business in the front, party in the back, you know? If you've got a 2 or 3 floor, we want the commercial on the first floor, and you could put residential on the 2nd or 3rd floor. So really what this ordinance does is it authorizes that split use, but it mandates that commercial in a 1-story building must be on the first floor and in the front, and on a 2 or 3-story building, it must be the first floor. We also provided that that at least 50% of the property on a 1-story building must be used for, or not more than 50% could be used for the residential purpose. But then there was some discussion, and it was decided that in special instances, perhaps it would be as much as 60%, but that would have to have approval both by the Planning Commission and the City Council. Kind of a simple ordinance, but by approving it, you are saying our downtown is for commercial businesses, but we'll allow residential uses, but we're going to do it in specific ways.
Bryce, what's different from what we have going on downtown right now?
If you wanted to, right now, if you wanted to turn your first floor into a residence, you could.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, this is providing a restriction. That's why we had notice and hearings. I mean, you know, with respect to this, you know, you've got to keep a commercial use, at least, and that's the purpose of it.
Any questions, council? Well, if we're seeing no questions, a motion on approval of the ordinance.
By the way, the Planning Commission did recommend it for approval as written.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 2020-17.
On second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Coldarn.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Streller.
Yes, thank you. I need a motion on the
Motion.
emergency, please.
Yeah.
Sorry,
motion on
Derek, I'm
emergency.
sorry.
No, that's all right. Motion on the emergency.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Coldarn.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Dilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrell.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Streller.
Yes, thank you. Item 13, receive recommendation from the Perry Planning Commission regarding ordinance number 2020-19. Consider approval of ordinance 2020-19 of the city of Perry, Oklahoma by amending of the definition of modular homes in subsection C and provision of additional requirements, including size, location, requiring additions for modular home in subsection S for section 12-247, providing for repeal or savings, codification, severability, and declaring an emergency. Mr. Kennedy,
Yeah,
being you're our planning
currently,
commission tonight.
yeah, currently you can place a modular home anywhere by right. And a modular home is defined in our ordinance. It's something different than a manufactured home. I always like to say the best example of it is that Victorian home on the curve as you're coming in on the highway. But you know, as the market has turned and changed, and folks are willing to live in smaller structures, and different folks, you know, are building different products. There are modular homes that aren't as elaborate as that Victorian structure, and are ready-made to be placed on the lot. Now, these homes meet the standard of the building code, and so, you know, it's not like when they come in. I mean, they meet all the standards. So, you know, that we need to we need to let them in, and right now you let them in. And modular homes can go in any residential district.
I thought we had this discussion, Bryce, and it could only go in RG.
No, a modular home can go in any residential district. And so what we're talking about right now is providing, kind of like the other ordinance, providing some limitations and restrictions. It all began by discussing something called a cross-modular home. And then when we actually looked at it, we really said, you know, it's just a word. We're really talking about a modular home. So what would we like those modular homes to look like at a minimum? You know, I mean, it's okay just to say you can put them anywhere, but, you know, do we have another opinion? Because these industries are putting out these homes, and they may not have a garage, and they may not have a porch. They may not resemble, you know, what perhaps we would like in Perry. And so the Planning Commission met twice and went around and talked about this. And this is what we talked about. First of all, in an RG residential district, that is a district in a whole lot of part of Perry. It's mostly in, I would say, an older part. I would say in many instances, the homes could be smaller in the RG district, where the R1 district is bigger lots, perhaps bigger homes, and there's exceptions to all of that, okay? But like, for instance, 25 years ago, when we first allowed mobile or manufactured homes, they could only be placed in the RG district. And maybe, Mayor, that's what you were thinking about. And you'd have to apply for a special use by review, and we'd have to go through a special procedure in order to do that. Well, you know, what the Planning Commission is noting in this RG district, we want them to have at least 1,200 square feet of livable space. And in the R1 district, which of course is larger homes and perhaps larger lots with exceptions, they wanted to have at least 1,600 square feet of space. Why? Well, the city's always treated those districts differently, and they're different in purpose and different in location in the community. In addition, I would say the other big issue is before we were talking about that these homes either had to have a garage or they had to have a porch. And with this particular ordinance, we're requiring that they have to have both a porch and a garage, which will make them look a whole lot more like, you know, you're hopeful, the surrounding property. So this is putting restrictions on modular. Prior to this time, you could put anything anywhere in really any district as long as it qualified, you know, as a modular home. And we're really setting out some rules. But what we're thinking is that this will actually assist in helping to bring that product to the community. Larry, would you like to comment on this also? Have I misstated any of it?
No, I think you've done well. Thank you, Counselor. Curtis, do you have a question about size or anything in this? Did we answer your question?
I think you're muted, Curtis.
You're muted, Curtis.
That's so annoying. Sorry. So yeah, he did explain the difference in some of it, and now I understand more about where 1,200 feet or square feet will be required and where 1,600 square feet will be required. And I didn't really understand where this was going with this before. Now, are these the same ones we talked about a few months ago, where they have to be bricked and they have to have concrete driveways and all that? Is this the same thing?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I have a few concerns on this. I want it to be brought to our city, and I want housing to be more available, and I want it to be more of an option. My conflict with it is that, by the time you do your brick and your concrete and you add a garage and you add a porch, someone else that had tried to do this before, you're looking at $40,000 to $50,000 by the time you have all of your work paid for and materials and get that all taken care of. And at that point, you're paying just as much as a normal house. So then it goes from being an option to, buy a different type of housing and something that shouldn't cost as much. You're still paying the same amount. And I think that we should be making it easier for people to get this kind of housing instead of, adding more and more and more amendments and ordinances to this, because it makes it harder and harder for people to get. And that's just my opinion, and that's just my view.
I thought we would talk to, I'm confused about this too, Curtis. When they were the family was going to put the modular home down here on East Boundary, I could have swore that we passed an ordinance saying that style of home was only going to be allowed in the RG district in Perry.
You're thinking about the new manufactured homes that are allowed in ag or RG?
Yeah. What's the difference between this, Brian?
I don't have that in front of me to explain that to you, so I would be shooting from the hip.
I thought this was the same one. I'm with Bill.
I'm confused.
No, it's a different definition. Manufactured home is a different definition. It doesn't meet the International Building Code. It meets a different code, and it's. I don't have the definitions; they're provided in your code, but it's a different definition of product.
So we do have two separate ordinances, because I only remember one that we passed.
Yeah, that was on. We have the mobile. Forget about mobile homes. There are no more mobile homes.
You're the one talking about that.
They're all manufactured homes. Okay, and we have a use by review process in a RG district. And then we have this brand, and that can be an old manufactured home. Doesn't have to be new, can't be real old. We have some date in there. But then you have this new manufactured home. If it's new and it meets that definition, then it can be placed in RG. The way it was is that mobile home, manufactured homes, they could only be placed with a use by review district and RG. And so then we said, too much process. If you're going to put a new manufactured home in, you can put it in an RG district. The other rule was that a modular home could be placed anywhere that you wanted. The problem is that the industry has caught up with this, and those can be very, very small homes. And the planning commission met, and they decided that open borders modular home can go wherever it wants to, needs to have some limitations. And so they put some limitations with respect to size in the different districts, and they put some limitations with respect to requiring a site-built garage and porch. I mean, that's what we're looking at.
Now, Bryce, in the other ordinance, let's back up just a minute. Did it say well, I guess you call it manufactured home that was going into the RG district? Did it say it had to aesthetically match the neighborhood, or did it say it had to be brick? Me personally, before I can go on with this, I don't mean to be complicated, but someone's got to give me a better definition or give me some pictures of what this looks like, because it all runs together to me, modular and manufactured.
Me too.
Well, we would be happy to bring this back at another meeting and review those definitions with you, and review those rules with you.
Well, I don't want someone to go spend, and I'm not trying to be negative, okay? I don't want someone to go spend $200,000 on the Fairway Edition and build a house, and someone else comes and buys one of these and plops it right next door to that house, and it doesn't look like part of the neighborhood.
And nor does it make sense to do a modular home that may cost $200,000 when they could have built the same home from scratch.
Yeah.
Just remember that they can do that by right now, anywhere, with no limitations. Just remember that.
Okay, let's quit talking about it then.
Okay, well, I'm just telling you, this is providing.
Okay, well, I'm telling you, hush.
So let me go back to Curtis's question. He asked earlier, did we not pass the ordinance that required brick to be on these? So were we not limiting that at some point when we passed that?
Did it say brick or did it say aesthetically?
I believe that the terms was more, you could use brick or you had to have a poured foundation. Either one, you're still looking at around the same cost.
Well, brick and poured foundation are two different things. So it wouldn't be
let's table this and bring it back next time with the pictures and better explanation.
Go ahead, Derek.
One more thing, just if I recall from reading it, there was that section in the ordinance, the heading of the section, I believe, does say mobile instead of modular. I'd have to go back and look again. Soon by our talks today, we need to fix that, right?
Yeah. Mayor, just to address what you were saying, section 12248 is for new manufactured homes, which says that you have to use an exterior siding similar in appearance, basically a common siding for homes that's determined by the building official. And I think what Curtis was talking about is in the ordinance that's being proposed tonight is talking about a poured foundation. So these are two separate things. Even though I know we're tabling all this, we're just kind of, these are starting to bleed together a little bit.
All right. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. So Derek, give me a motion to hold this over then, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Coldern,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrill,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Streller.
Yes. Thank you, council, and sorry that got too complicated. I know that our officials do work really hard on that, and I do appreciate all you guys' work. Item 14, consider ordinance concerning children at play signs. We got 3 ordinances here. Before we go into this, I want to ask Bryce something. Bryce, why do we have to have ordinances for putting up a sign?
Well, in most instances, when you're putting up a sign, it becomes a penal provision. If you violate the terms of the ordinance, you can be charged with a crime.
Okay.
I mean, that may not apply to children at play, because what's the violation? I mean, if you sped through it, you went 50 through a children at play section, that would also violate the speed limit. It's just as a regular thing. Anytime you want to change the traffic laws, we do it by ordinance. We make it a formal thing so that the manager just can't put up signs, because anybody that gets charged with something based on that sign has a right. Well, I mean, it has to be authorized by the governing body, and an ordinance establishes a permanent record that that's what was done. This one, I have to admit, is a little quasi, because how do you violate a children at play sign? It's just that, normally you do it by ordinance. That's the way I chose to do it here.
Well, that's fine. It clarified it for me, because I didn't understand how a children at play is just a caution sign, basically. So I didn't know how you would violate, but I understand what you're saying. Okay, item A, consider approval of ordinance 2020-23 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, providing for a children at play sign on North 8th Street at or near 8th Street and Noble Street, Perry, Oklahoma, providing for the city manager to authorize and implement this ordinance, providing for repeal or saving codification, repeal or savings, severability, penalty, and declaring an emergency.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Calderon,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrill,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes.
Motion on.
Oh, thank you, Brian. I apologize.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Calderon,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrill,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item B, consider approval of ordinance number 2020-24, the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, providing for a children at play sign on Boundary Street between 11th and 15th Streets, Perry, Oklahoma, providing that the city manager is authorized to implement this ordinance, providing for repeal or savings, severability, penalty, and declaring an emergency.
Not that this changes anything, but I thought, can we, just for record, how much these signs cost, and then I'll motion to approve.
I guess we don't have that information.
Oh, he muted. You were unmuted already, Larry.
There we go. I don't recall off the top of my head, but I can find that out for you, Kurt, Derek.
Okay. Motion stands.
Second, Dilbeck.
Roll call, please.
Calderon,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrill,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Motion on emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Calderon,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrill,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. Item C, consider approval of ordinance number 2020-25 of the City Council of the City of Perry, Oklahoma, providing for a children at play sign on Maple Street between 7th and Highway 77, Perry, Oklahoma, providing for the city manager to authorize to implement this ordinance, providing for repealer, saving severability penalty, and declaring an emergency. I do want to point out that I think it was about a year ago that we did have a child hit on the street. The kid ran out from behind a car. There was an elderly woman driving the car. She did nothing wrong, but there was an accident. The child was all right, but there was an accident at this location.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Coldarn,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrell,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you, council. Item
Motion.
15. Oh, motion
Motion on
emergency.
emergency.
Thank you.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Coldarn,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrell,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes. All right, item number 15, consider presentation of 2019, 2020 city and related entities audit. We have someone with us that's going to make that presentation.
Yes, I'm here.
There you go. I see you now. Thank you, sir. I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you. I'm Chuck Crooks. I'm with CDW Professional Group, and thank you again for the opportunity to work on your audit. The audit, we give several opinions, and our opinions are on internal control and compliance, and then there's also an opinion on the financial statements. The financial statements this year are basically a unmodified or clean opinion. Since we've removed the hospital from the audit this year, it's become more of the entity didn't even really operate this year. So that's why there's a clean opinion this year as compared to the prior years. The other opinions on internal control compliance, we had no findings, so none are listed there. We didn't have any issues when we were there auditing. We were able to find everything we were looking for, and as we were going through it, and then Meredith provided everything we needed while we were there to get everything done. And what Meredith didn't, everybody else from their departments gave us the things that we needed, and I think, I didn't have any issues with my reviews, and I know none of my staff that did all their test work didn't have any issues with what they were looking at. So, did you have any questions of me?
Is there any questions? Well, seeing none, I'd just like to say thank you for doing that. I'd like to say thank you to the Meachams, Meredith.
Yes.
And Dixie and your staff. Thank you very much for making this happen for us.
Mayor, before you continue, could I just jump in
Well,
and say that?
okay.
Please. So fieldwork started, and Dixie was there all by herself that day, and ended up having kind of a short staff, and kind of didn't have as much help as what she'd expected. And Chuck and his group were still able to.
It's okay, Meredith. You can bring your daughter on if you need to.
It's bedtime. I'm sorry. She's been dying to go to bed. I'm pushing her away. Anyway, Dixie was able to get them everything that they needed that first day. I showed up the second day, and we were able to get Chuck everything and their group and get them out in 2 days, which, if you know how long it took for the last audit, it's a great reflection on city staff and their ability to work hard and get it done. So I appreciate the timeliness, both on Chuck's part and city staff part.
Hi, LV. You want to talk? All right. Any questions for Meredith? All right. Thank you, Meredith. All right. We need a motion to accept the audit as presented. and direct its proper filing.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Coldern,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrell,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 16, consider approval of grant agreement for the Community Development Block Grant as a capital improvement planning award in the amount of $30,000 with the Oklahoma Department of Commerce, Community Development. Authorize the mayor, the city manager, and the city clerk to execute the grant agreement. Dixie, you've been working on this grant. Do you have anything you would like to talk about?
This is the grant for the Shishmita from NODA is coming over and doing the GPS of all the fire hydrants and the sirens and working on a whole GPS project for the city. That's what this will be for, and it'll be a great asset to the city once it's done.
Thank you very much. I've seen a motion of improvement of approval.
Move to approve the grant agreement.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Coldern,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrell,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Stroller.
Yes, thank you. Item 17, consider approval of surface and subsurface easement for directional well or wells with Charter Oak Production Company, LLC, pursuant to the lease agreement with Nadel and Guzman, LLC. Okay, the way I understand this, Bryce may step in and say I'm wrong, but the way I understand this explained was years ago there was a lease drawn up, and it's like way back 2000, 2002, something, and any future drilling, the amount was already set forth at that time, and it was $4,000 for surface and subsurface damage. And this is approval of that amount for a new well that they wish to drill at that location. Correct, Bryce?
Yes, that's correct. We used to make a lot of money based on this owning 327.8 net mineral acres. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we're hopeful that with some new production there that might occur too. This is all subject to wellhead protection of our lake, and we ensured that any location would be above where it needs to be for purposes of our dam project.
Is this in location to where we may need capping done and stuff?
It's at the lake, Derek, but it's not on that same location.
Okay.
This is outside of the floodplain, and they said they put in the lease they noted, Bryce, what was it? How many feet above what the floodplain was going to be? I mean, Dixie told me earlier, but I don't remember the exact figure. Dixie, what'd you say?
I believe it was 1.5 feet above the flood level.
1.5 feet?
I think. Bryce, do you recall?
No.
I want to say that's what it was above the 100-year flood level.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I was talking. I'm sorry. I apologize. I was talking about our dam project. So it's way up out of the easements for the dam project, correct, Bryce?
Yes, that's correct. What we did is we got our surveyor involved, and he looked at this, and he's the one that made the recommendation.
All right, thank you. I just wanted the council to be comfortable that this wasn't going to be in the floodplain area for the dam project.
It is not.
Okay. Council?
Excuse me, motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second, Bond.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Coldern,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrell,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Streller.
Yes, thank you. Item 18, consider approval of invoice to CEC Corporation in the amount of $2,500 for updated DBE program on the improved fuel farm project. This is the project that's going on at the airport.
Motion to approve.
Second, Coldern.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Coldern,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrell,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Streller.
Yes, thank you. Item 19, consider approval of invoice to CEC Corporation in an amount of $6,000 for updated DBE program on the rehab fuel and design only for improved airport drainage project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Coldern,
Yes.
Bond,
Yes.
Dilbeck,
Yes.
Ahern,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Morrell,
Yes.
Wines,
Yes.
Streller.
Yes. Item 20, discuss the COVID-19 pandemic. Russell kind of took the wind out of our sails a while ago on that.
I was so excited the other day when I saw 3.
Me too. Russell, are you still on there?
I am, yes, sir.
Okay. I should have known that. You were moving around making noise a while ago and you just popped up, took our whole screen right in the middle of the presentation.
Oh, sorry.
Control yourself up there, boy. Let me
You
talk to
can't- you can't
Let me
do
talk.
that.
Yeah, let me talk to Captain Duke. Put that boy on an ambulance or something. I'm still confused. I don't have the last report you sent, Larry, apparently. So are you
Okay.
saying in the city of Perry, there's 24 cases? Or there are 12 cases? You said there's 12 and then there's 12 or something.
Yeah, I'm
So how
sorry.
many do
So
we actually have?
currently there are 15 active cases, which is 12 more than there were.
Okay, I apologize. There was
Yeah, no,
three.
that was-
There was 3 on the last report. Okay, I follow what you're saying now.
Okay.
Where's Red Rock at?
Red Rock did see, actually their cases are fairly flat. Actually, they are flat. What's that?
I thought the Friday report said 13.
It is 13, and there was no movement in their numbers.
okay.
They've remained at 13.
Okay.
We did see an increase in Morrison with 4 additional cases. We did see an increase in Billings with 4 additional cases. So countywide, that gave us an additional 21 cases according to the health department's website.
Yeah.
And both of those were 0 last Friday, I believe, weren't they? The last 2.
Billings was 0, and Morrison had only 2 active cases Friday.
Good, Morrison did have 2.
Yeah, so
It kind of hurts our numbers whenever you were talking about that a member of your staff, his whole family's got it now, or their whole family. So that multiplies our numbers drastically then.
Yeah.
So
So
All right.
is there any speculation on what caused the uptick? I know you kind of hit on that, but
I really don't know if it's down to more people are getting tested now. I don't know. I mean, what the cause is,
Right.
for the increase, but it's just to me, that's a pretty serious spike with just 3 days. And we've got an additional, 12 cases just within the city of Perry. I thought that was pretty substantial.
pretty wild. I was hoping it would stay at 3 and continue to dwindle.
yeah, sure not 12. All right. Anything else? We
Yes,
discuss?
yes. This is our last opportunity to have a Zoom meeting, unless we have a special meeting. I mean, this is it. And it happens to be it at a time when, our numbers are perhaps higher than they've been in the past. So we're going to have to go back to meet. We're going to have to go back to meet together. I have not had an opportunity to talk to the mayor or to Larry or to Dixie about this, but I mean, to the extent that the council wants the social distance, we could elect to have a meeting in a different location rather than our chamber. To do that, we would have to call a special meeting, which is no big deal. You just can't have any new business on the agenda, spread out tables, and probably because we don't have the fiber into whatever building we'd pull, we'd probably just have to do FaceTime Live to get that same signal out to the public. But, you know, and of course the council could set their own rules on, you know, if you come into the chamber, you must wear a mask or whatever. I just point that out because, you know, we have been Zooming and, you know, we can go back into the chamber or like, for instance, we could use that if it's available, we could use that activity building or, you know, some other building in town and spread out. I just point that out to you for purposes of discussion.
I'm glad you said that. That was going to be my next question is what are our plans for social distancing when we come back together? And was wondering if we had any discussion internally about that yet.
Yeah, I think this is the discussion, and I think that if you give us direction, that we will follow with that direction.
I'm not sure if this is allowed since it's steady work out at a publicly traded company, but I also wonder, Derek, Amber might know better, but we could distance downstairs in the classroom. It wouldn't be open to public, like you said, if we had a Zoom for them, but it's at least set up for a larger group that has microphones and a camera system. I'm not sure if we're allowed to use it for this purpose, but it is something we could check into.
Yeah, it has to be available to the public because there's no
then
more.
That would work.
Yeah, there's really no more Zoom. There is some Zoom allowed, but each one of you councilmen have to be in a public place, and you'd have to allow the public to come to the place you're at, and it would have to be within the community, and it just doesn't work. And the truth is, I've been on top of this, trying to see if we could get some change. There was some discussion of a legislative session on this. There's not going to be one. I talked to Senator Hall today, and he sees the first time that this can again be addressed is in March. And they expect something in March. I mean, they expect, you know, perhaps this to be made permanent. But, you know, if we want to spread out, we can do that. We just need to change our location. It needs to be a special meeting, and we can we can set up those rules.
I don't know what the situation would be. The biggest building I believe that we got is the Armory. I don't know if it would be possible to set up something in there. That's plenty big to spread out. I don't know what it's being used for now. I know that we have our Christmas party in there. We've always had plenty of room for that. But maybe the heating concerns are there. I don't want a building that isn't heated. I believe that building's heated. But
I think I agree with you, Bill. That would be a decent big area that we could. I think the last time we were all in there, there was several people renting that big area, and I don't know what that would do to them. But I agree that'd be an ideal situation as long as it's warm and everything.
I think that, you know, there is one person that is fixing to rent, I believe. I don't know if they're moved in or yet or not, but Dixie, is that heated? It is, isn't it?
Yes, it is heated, and the one person has not yet come in and signed the agreement.
Okay.
I assume they're still planning to.
Well, I talked to him the other day, and I thought he'd already done that. So anyway, I would think that that would be probably our best location. That way, if some public wanted to, you know, some public participation or a scenario. I know Tyson's probably over here about to swat me with something. He was telling me tonight how excited he was that we weren't going to have to do this anymore like this. So, but I'm sure that Tyson will try to accommodate us however we have to, whatever we have to do. But I think that we could probably go back to our council chambers, but it would be tough if we had very many people from the public show up.
That being said, I believe that we asked last time this was brought up if there was a way we could start implementing a way for the public to approach us with things, or with input like they've been doing, even though we're going to meet together again. We've had a really awesome response with that being open like that, and I feel it's a really, really needed thing. But as far as us meeting together, I'm open for whatever.
Well, I'll have that discussion with Tyson and see. It seemed like to me it was really expensive for us to do that. So, how much? $15,000, and we don't have $15,000. So
yeah, you would just need to go Facebook Live is what other folks do.
And I can only remember maybe one or two agenda items the whole time we've been doing this that the public has really weighed in on. I don't know.
Give us some time to look into what we need to do and present something to you, Mayor, here in the next day or two.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Anything else we need to talk about this evening, Council? If not, we are going to move to item 21, new business. Is there any new business that needs to come before the City Council this evening? Hearing none, I do have one item. All the council members got emailed Danette Marshall, Councilman Marshall's resignation today. She has moved outside of her ward and is residing in a different ward, so she did submit her resignation. I would like to publicly say thank you to Danette. She came in at a time that we needed her and participated well and helped the council tremendously. And you will be missed if you're watching.
Yes, thank you for everything you did, and wish you well.
Anything else needs to come up before new business this evening? If not, we will move to item 22, motion on the adjournment, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Coldern.
Yes.
Bond.
Yes.
Gilbeck.
Yes.
Ahern.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Morrill.
Yes.
Wines.
Yes.
Streller.
Yes. Thank you, council.